so I got the intake side finished up, and that's what it's looking like so far. The camera doesn't, for some reason, it always looks like crap on camera, but in person, I promise you, it's actually very nice looking. Getting ready to start on the exhaust side. I just got to drill down. Like I said, what I did with the intake side is I drill the valve bosses down, or sorry, the valve guides down just to the boss right here. The drill bit just till it basically almost touches the aluminum, and then I go in here and I start grinding everything nice and smooth so that way the air can flow over them nicely. Here's a trick for removing exhaust studs too. Don't ever put vice grips on them and try to turn them out, because you'll ruin the threads, and then they'll cross thread and it'll just ruin the threads. Get the nuts, and you put one on backwards, put one on forwards, tighten them together, and then loosen it from the inner nut. As you can see what I'm doing right here. You can see that's spinning out very nicely now. And there it goes. So simple as that. Alright, so here's how far I've gotten with the whole rough cutting with the diamond bit on my die grinder. I'm just doing, like I said, the rough cut and everything right now, trying to get these guides enough to where I can start getting into here and start shaping around them, kind of sharpen them just like the intake, but not really opening it up a whole lot, just opening it up enough to get my bit in there. All right, so this head is pretty much done. So I got the exhaust side ported, and I got the inside ported, or the intake side ported. As you can see, I don't know how well the camera always makes port work look like crap. But this is actually a pretty decent job, if I had to say. And that's usually kind of what you want to go for. You don't want to open up your exhaust port completely, but you can see how there's still a ramp there around the valve guide. There's still a bit of boss left there. You can see how I did that. And the point of that is just that way it keeps the exhaust velocity speed up as it exits into the exhaust pipe. And then that creates a negative pressure right here the faster it comes out. In front of the valve guide bosses right here, I got those completely shined up and polished on the exhaust side. So the exhaust side, you always want to do as much of a fine polishing as you can. I'm not even sure what grit I used on the exhaust side, but it's pretty much, you know, if I were to go over it with one of these, I think that's felt, I'm not sure what it is. If I were to go over it with one of these little nylon felt pad things and some polishing compound, I can definitely get a mirror finish out of this, but you don't need that unless you just want to sit here and mess around or whatever and have something to show off to your friends. And I mean, there are some benefits of it. The one reason why you want to polish your exhaust side is to keep carbon from sticking, and it also helps dissipate heat off of the edge because it's more of a metallic surface, kind of like this wrench for instance. And then on the intake side, unless you have direct injection or you have a diesel, you don't want to polish up the intake ports. Diesels and direct injection, you can polish up the intake ports all the way up to the back of the valve all you want, because their fuel injector is in the combustion chamber, kind of like the spark plug. Anything carbureted or throttle body, or it has a multi-port fuel injection, you want it a little bit rough, not super rough, but you want a little bit rough. I think this is about 150 grit. The intake is what I left it at, and that helps atomize the fuel. It turns the fuel particles into smaller fuel particles, so that when it enters the combustion chamber, it it has a much more continuous burn from one fuel particle to the next fuel particle. Is the best way to put it into perspective for you guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these little video series that I'm doing of porting some heads. In the future, I will be porting a CRF450X head that I have also, and I will be selling that. I just got to get the motor mount part welded. See, on this one, I tried to, because I bought a TIG welder, and I thought I'd try it out, and it didn't work out too well. So what I'm going to do is take it to Racer's Edge and have a friend of mine weld it up there. He's a really good TIG welder when it comes to aluminum. But TIG weld that, and then I'll start porting this head next. Here's my old head for my TRX450ER. This is one of the first heads, actually, that I ported. First, second, no, this is actually the third, I think. It's a good thing that it's not being used anymore. Anyways, you can see this one has epoxy port in it. You can see the port job I did in there, and that's 04 and 05 heads. They do that even if you take it to a machine shop. They will do what's called epoxy porting. So if you ever send your head off to Racer's Edge or any other machine shop that is well known and it comes back with epoxy in the intake port, it's not because they caused any damage, it's because they are correcting the airflow. Anyways, guys, make sure you like and share this video and subscribe if you are new. So take it easy.